Look at that sunlight. Jeez, that's nice. What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's Monday for me. And before I get even started talking about anything with this video, I want to preface this video because it's been brought to my attention that maybe I should have a disclaimer on my channel. All the shit that I talk on my videos, people might take me seriously. If you watch the previous 3 months of videos on my channel, or I don't know how many videos it is, it might be more than 40 or 50 now. If you're new here, please get caught up at your leisure. Go back in time, go back through the history of the videos. There's about 40 or 50, like I said. The last 3 or 4 months of videos should bring you up to speed, and then you'll kind of know what I'm all about, what this channel is all about, and whether or not to take what I say seriously for any bit of value at all, other than possibly entertainment. Anybody who's a regular here is going to know how absolutely ridiculous it is for me to have to say something like that to somebody. But, as my good friends may comment in the sections below, it takes a little while to get used to my nonsense. I have a little bit of a loose tongue, and I'm a moody son of a bitch at the same time. So depending on whatever mood I'm in, whatever I say may change. I'm never on one side of a fence or the other, so I'm usually coming off like a hypocrite. Truth of the matter is, I analyze both sides, and I don't advocate either. So that's frustrating. I'm a bit unpredictable. You're either Democrat or what's the other one? Green Party? I don't even know. You know, Republican, that's it. I knew it had something to do with Star Wars games. Yeah, so I'm not one of those like either or types. I'm like a big picture person. I studied philosophy in school for a long time, and that kind of opened my mind to all things considered. And I don't like to side on one thing or another unless there's like an abundance of hard evidence or science or experience or longevity to prove such a thing. Like, I can say the sun is shining. You see that through the trees? You have some evidence there to prove that what I'm saying is correct. So you can see it in the background. So if I say the sun is currently shining, it's kind of hard to dispute that fact. But if I said it's raining, it's not raining here, but it's probably raining somewhere, doesn't mean it's not true. What is misinformation anyways? It's Misinformation Madness Mondays, motherfucker. I was just thinking about it today because I need to quantify or at least qualify some of the things that I say on the channel, because in the past, some of the things I've said are controversial. They're definitely hot topic, so I don't shy away from hot topics. But I recently got a question on whether or not I take responsibility for what I've said or what I'm saying in a way. And if someone questions what I've said, do I handle the conversation or do I just leave it? And my answer was, it depends on how I'm approached. If someone's angry, then no. If you're angry about something I said, I don't want to hear it. Sorry. If you're curious, that's different. I can handle curious. If you have counterpoints or information that I missed or like a fact to my opinion, then yeah, I guess you can educate me. You just present a fact or a link or the other side of an argument. I'm not against either or. I'm not into feelings. I'm out here to just vent. It's mostly entertainment. At least that's what I hope it comes off like. I'm not a politician. I'm not a professor. I'm not a scientist. I keep telling the landlord at my apartments they're dealing with a rodent issue where I got rodents or rats or mice or whatever the fuck in my walls and ceiling. And they asked me, is it mice or rodents? I said, I'm not a biologist. Just send the fucking pest control here. Get rid of them. Fuck difference does it make if it's mice or rats? Let them come here and figure it out. That's the responsibility of the property management, not me. I'm here to tell you have a problem. It's your responsibility to take care of it. I think that's fair. I want to cooperate, but not if they're going to be dumb and ignorant about it. That's all. That's all it is. Just say what I feel like saying. And if you got something to say about it in return, we can do it respectfully. Like, we can get into the weeds if you so feel like getting into the weeds, but like, you know, calm your nerves, approach it with some dignity and respect, and voice it in such a way that it makes sense. Because if it's emotional, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not a therapist. I have trouble dealing with my own feelings. That's how I end up with both feet in my mouth most days. Just chewing on sneakers and shit. Yeah, I'm not that great with social interaction on a normal basis. So when it gets all twisted, I'm even worse. So if it's emotional, sorry, I'm not a therapist. I mean, I may have something to say, but it doesn't mean it's accurate. How do I get out of here? I forget how to get out of here. This is probably not the right way to go. I do this like every once in a while, and I keep forgetting which way I'm supposed to ride. Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to put that disclaimer out there. I wanted to say hello and welcome back to all my regulars. I really appreciate you guys for chiming in and having something to say and something to share. I mean, some of the topics are important for sure. Like I'm kind of here stirring the pot for others to think about. And I want to know, like, do you feel like from your end, you're watching this, I don't know if you're new, if you know me, but from your end, do you feel like I should follow up with everybody based on what I've said? I'm gonna get a consensus. I'm gonna get like the majority vote. Do you personally feel like if I've said something online, do I have a responsibility to follow up? Is that how it works? It's a platform, it's out in public. It's like speaking in the park, I guess. If I'm giving it to you, then you have a chance to give it back. But under what circumstances am I obligated to answer? My friends, I mean, if we have conversations in person, we're sitting across from each other and we have things to say. Maybe not personal, but sometimes personal. Then what kind of responsibility do I have to answer the public? I don't think I have any. I don't have to answer to nobody. The fact that I'm putting on YouTube might be a little bit of a twist, but I want to hear from others. I want to hear what you think of the possibility, because I'm not against it. On most conversations, I'm usually like engaging, but I mean, if I've said something and someone starts attacking me personally, then they're not attacking the content, then that's a little fucking weird. Like, don't judge me based on the content that I'm saying. Unless it's like, if I said something like, oh, for sure it's a rat, I know, I've identified it, I looked at it, but I'm not a biologist and I don't study zoology, then maybe, you know, someone can say, hey, like, you haven't studied it, you're not a specialist in that field, you can't say that kind of thing, then maybe that's misinformation. So especially if I was giving advice, geez, if I was telling other people like, hey, you need to use peanut butter with the nuts in it and you need to sprinkle paprika on it and then you'll kill the mice, then I'm pretty sure all of what I just said is bullshit. But hey, the other flip side of that coin is like, you, viewer, choice maker, you have a responsibility to fact check things. Like, before you commit to an action, don't you do your research? You just choose blindly and do whatever people tell you to do? Is that really the way it works? And then if you do it, like, if you touch the coffee cup at Tim Hortons and it's hot, do you blame Tim Hortons? Oh, now they have a disclaimer on the cup that says coffee is hot. What? Really? They did that so people wouldn't sue them. They're suing them because what? The company's responsible for telling you coffee's hot first? I don't get it. I don't get that part. That's what I feel like part of the I've said something and I have a responsibility for what I say kind of thing, then I don't know. I don't know how that works. In some atmospheres, 100%. If I were a teacher, if I were an elected figure, if I were appointed to a position, if I was a supervisor, if I already had responsibilities adorned over my head due to a position, then yeah, I have a role to fill. I have a duty to my position, for sure. As a person, I have some as well. Otherwise, I would be judged, sure. If it's appropriately and the shoe fits, fuck it. I'll wear that shoe. And you can tell me so, that's fine too. But don't expect me to change. I mean, at best, what's going on there is feedback. And feedback's a choice. You don't have to say shit. Just be like, I don't like this guy. I'm not gonna talk to him. That's a choice, that's fine. And then in like other atmospheres, say if you're a parent and your child, which you're responsible for, is doing certain things or saying things, or you want the best for your child, I guess the same way you would want the best for your friends, then you want to give your friends some advice. Maybe they didn't ask for it ahead of time, but it might be in their best interest somehow. So I know there's some lines there that are gray, and I know that I've advised some people and commented on stuff, but I figure if they're sharing it, it's out there, the same way I'm sharing to YouTube. Perhaps there's a window there to invite the feedback, invite the comments. But like I said, if it's off topic, and because I have this like stubborn view of like philosophy and argument and things like that, like if I'm talking about vaccine passports and the do's and don'ts, and if you do and if you don't, and how the government got to that decision, and like what makes sense and what doesn't, then I'm talking about the politics and the decision making there in that context. But if someone was to then pick at what I'm saying because I'm on one side or the other, I don't know that that fits. That's like, it's not about me, it's about the logic of the decision, right? It's like the why the government is choosing stuff. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the cable. So my interest is, why has the government done this? Why have other places in the world done differently? What makes Canada different than the US? Why are some states different from each other? What is it really based on? So that my criticism on the do or don't really comes down to, what is the government really doing? What's going on there? And on top of that, my other thing is like, I don't want to be against someone for doing or not doing it. So if I get attacked for doing or not doing, it's like assuming my political stance when I don't really have one. Shit, I didn't even vote. I was busy. And that's why, like, I have some things to say about what I see in media, but I'm not an expert. And I'm doing it mostly for entertainment's sake. It might not entertain you. If you don't like a comedian, don't watch their special. If there's a hockey team playing and you don't like them, you don't have to watch. That's fucking choice. That's the freedom. Yay. But unlike what the government's doing about vaccines and whatever, see, here's the thing that I wanted to draw. There's a difference between rights, freedoms, and privilege. I mentioned this in the last video, where private property has the ability to like instate certain policies to conduct business on their property, the same way you in your house. I said that. So understanding the difference between rights, freedoms, same thing like responsibility and choice, or like courtesy and responsibility. Some lines there that get blurry. You may like or not like it, but I mean, you have a choice to deal with it or not, and however you deal with it, that's your choice too. That's why having the choice is so brilliant. It's so important. But here's the flip side to me, medically. Here, a friend of mine was saying today that they have allergic reactions to vaccines or shots or whatever, and they have a difficulty now getting medically exempt from the vaccine. Now, if they can't get the vaccine and they get a medical exemption, what's the rule with dining in? Do they get to dine in because they're exempt, or do they get banned from eating there because they can't get the vaccine, regardless of whether they can or can't? They can't make that choice, because if they do, they'll have problems. That's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna, that example, I'm trying to draw straws here between some examples, but I can't find one. But anyways, it gets into the weeds. This is where it gets into the weeds. This is where the details on why things are being chosen and how they got to that decision is important. Like, what information are they basing their decision on? So for the majority public health, I can see that if vaccines are working, everybody should get one. But there's data to suggest that they're not really working. In some places, death rates go up when the vaccine count goes up. What's going on there? So the point behind a lot of it is still to figure out, to make your choice in the matter. Meanwhile, your privileges are being stripped away as what I think is coercion. You're being coerced into doing it because they're taking away your privilege. If you liked taking your kids to McDonald's to eat as a treat once in a while as a parent, and because it's cheap and, you know, that kind of thing, now you can't take your kids there, but you can order Uber Eats or you can deliver to your house, but it costs more. So then it eliminates the thing. Sorry, this street's super busy. I apologize. Anyways, this is why the majority of the time, and like maybe people get frustrated with me because I seem to be on the fence about a lot of stuff. I talk a lot about things because that's the nature of thought processes and analysis, and I'm an overthinker and I talk a lot. So a lot of it just comes spilling out, and I guess whatever I do gets hidden, so people just don't know. Like, whatever's on the channel is only a sliver of what's going on. Think of everybody's personality and life like an iceberg, right? An iceberg, you can only see the very tip, you can't see the whole thing. So that's the way online interaction should go. Because you've only seen like 140 characters at a time, and you're reading something for the first time, your response becomes, I don't know, is it pointless, or is it like, what is it? Why are we compelled? It's a good question. This is a good question for myself too. Why do I feel compelled to answer or respond or even post stuff online? What am I really doing? Especially if it's public, like here on YouTube. YouTube can reach anybody, not just my subscribers. Depending on the hashtags, it can reach whomever. So what is it about something we read from a stranger? You know how they used to tell us not to talk to strangers? I guess that went out the window. What is it about things that online that compel you to respond, to say something? Is it because you feel like you know more, you know different, you disagree, something is confused? Do you care about the person and you're telling them because you want them to understand something? I mean, it's up to them to understand. You know that whole like lead a horse to water thing. Unless you're planning on drowning that horse, like maybe saying something in return is just not necessary. But I'm curious because I get dragged into it. I get triggered all the time. But is it a result of online media, or is it something else about us as people? It makes me wonder. I gotta figure it out, that's for sure. I don't want to be out here upsetting people for no reason, and if I do happen to upset somebody, then I would like to be able to follow up and say, hey, like, I understand there's feelings involved, but usually that's not what I'm talking about. We may have feelings attached to a topic, but I'm an asshole in the way that I say, well, I'm not responsible for your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings. I didn't give you them. Like, I don't blame Breyer's ice cream or like Haagen-Dazs or whatever for giving me brain freeze. If I have too much ice cream and I decided to put it in my mouth and I get brain freeze, I don't give them shit. But it feels so bad. My brain is frozen. God damn you, Haagen-Dazs. It tasted so good at first, but then it hurts. See, I don't blame the ice cream company. It was my choice to take a bite. And I guess that's the same with any consumption. If you choose to consume something, so put it this way. I guess I guess YouTube could autoplay something, but I put a disclaimer up first, so that's good. But if it autoplays and you come across it by accident, then as long as I'm within the YouTube policies, it's like, it's something about responsibility. That's the thing that gets me in all of this, is where do lines of responsibility and like decency and integrity, and where do they start and stop? From my end projecting to your end receiving, who is on what side, and like where does it go back and forth? And more importantly, why? Why do we reach back and forth? For what understanding? Like I said, is it a matter of caring for each other, or is it just a matter of like nitpicking because that's what social media does? Everybody just fights. I don't know. I mean, I care about my friends. I do want them to do well. I am concerned about health and productivity, and not productivity, but you know what I mean? Like just being like positive and doing well with their lives, making good choices. And I hope they care about mine. So like, how do we get to that important stuff? What do we say? If I see some of my friends doing something that's harmful, do I stay quiet or do I approach them? If I approach them, how do I approach them? I don't want them to get upset. People just love parking on the fucking sidewalk. I need to get two cameras so you can see what's going on. So anyways, long story long, 22 minutes later, thank you guys, I appreciate it. I don't know what makes it to the end, but you could let me know. Yeah, I did a couple things. One is responsibility. So like when you're speaking on a platform and online, how much responsibility do you feel to answer anybody who says something? Depending on who it is, you can talk to me, explain a little bit about that. Or what is it about things online that, like what trigger mechanisms, what is it that's happening that compels you in a scenario to respond or to come up with something? And if it's friends, I have much more concern for my friends than I do just general stuff. But I have been known to comment on like the City of Toronto pages and Mayor Tory pages and things like that. So sometimes things just come up where it doesn't make sense, and I'll split the difference because of the philosophy, the argument, the logic, the reasoning, the process by which things are decided. Like it's not really transparent. That a lot of things just happen, and then you're like, what? Where the fuck did that come from? I do think there's some civilian responsibility to like understand what's going on. I mean, it's in the Declaration of Independence. The United States has amendments and certain things written in that document that is supposed to guide the way society is structured, is handled, is managed. Something goes wrong, you're supposed to challenge it. I support that. It should be a civil conversation because it is a civil type of topic. Civil being people and society, so like it doesn't have to be uncivilized and disrespectful and angry and aggressive or emotional. It can just be, what's the content? We're going to feel something about it anyways, but conversations are much more constructive when they're not colored and distorted by emotions. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and if you can answer a few of those things, then that would be great, and I'll talk to you again later.